I feel like wearing makeup really feeds into my ego in a negative way. I wonder if you can discuss that briefly. I can see you still wear it. How do you balance these two worlds, for lack of better words? I love wearing makeup, wearing nice clothes. I'm not a super feminine woman, so I don't tend to dress up. I remember for my friends, I was a bridesmaid and I had to wear really like glittery high heels, like really high heels, and like a really thrilly dress. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, I feel like a transgender. This doesn't feel right. So I don't have that really feminine side. But I still like to wear nice clothes. I like my clothes to match. I like to wear makeup. I really appreciate tattoos on women. There's a particular look that I really appreciate in women, and that's, I think, the way this body tries to dress itself. It's sort of like feminine but also masculine. It's just something I really appreciate, and internally I feel like that as well. Now, this can be ego driven if it's done from a place of lack. So if you're doing it from a place of, I need love from others in the way that I wear makeup, in the way that I dress, then it's like anything, it's going to create suffering, because you're looking to the external world for your sense of being, for your sense of presence, and that's who you are. That's your natural sense of freedom. But on the human level, on the feminine level, of course you like to show your body off to the gentleman, or if you're a lesbian, to the feminine. And you'll show yourself off in the way that you feel attractive, and that's a very balanced way of being. And you normally have to go through lots of stages. Like I went through a stage in my early 20s where I shaved all my hair off, or I wouldn't wear makeup, or I only wore men's clothes. And then I went through a Buddhist stage of just wearing very simple clothes. I went through all these different stages to come to see that you're allowed to, when you're not looking from love from it, you are allowed to be human, to be an animal. And on an animal level, if I look at my dog, I know that Khaleesi loves to flirt. She loves to flirt. If she meets a boy dog that she likes, if she meets a female dog that she likes, she loves to flirt. And she, just the way she moves her body, like her whole body language changes. And she's so cute when she flirts. She flirts with me as well, actually. Only when she's hungry or she wants a tickle. And if you look at birds do it as well, although it's the men that tend to have the very colourful feathers and be really beautiful. I think in the human society it tends to be women, although some might argue. And you're allowed to show that off in the way that feels right for you. It doesn't feel right for me to be super feminine, and I know I've had boyfriends before that have wanted me to be more feminine, and it's just not like that for me. I was out with my mum the other day, walking the dog, and I have a lot. I used to have asthma and allergies, but it's healed a lot. But I can have a lot of stuff coming out of my sinuses when everything goes into pollination, and I try not to take any medicines for it, so it ends up being a lot of fluids come out if I'm really in the countryside, so if I'm walking the dog. And I've found a way to deal with it. And basically I found a way to blow my nose without tissues, and it's really unattractive. You just put your finger on your nose, and then you blow out like that, and you just do it to the side. And my mum and me were out, and my mum didn't have a tissue, and she had a runny nose. And I was like, oh mum, I've discovered a way in which you can blow your nose without a tissue, and you don't get it on yourself at all. It's fantastic. Like, it doesn't touch any of you. You just go like this, and then it's out of your nose. And we're in the middle of nowhere, so there's no one to see us. And she's walking along and she's struggling like, and I say this, and she stops and she looks at me and she goes, Lisa, I'm too feminine to do that. It was so cute. My mum is super feminine, and I'm just not. I've got a feminine side, but I've also got a very strong masculine side as well. It was so sweet. And she's very small, my mum, and I'm quite tall. And so I looked and she went, Lisa, I'm too feminine to do that. It really warmed my heart when she said that. It was so cute. And you're allowed to shine. You know, to get into this subject and think, I've got to stop shining because that's egotistical, is crazy. Of course that's not how it's meant to be. Of course that's not how it's meant to be. It's human to have this urge to give your gifts to other people. And beauty isn't a gift as in like learning to play the guitar, but it's also a gift to have physical beauty. It doesn't, and it's so different for everyone. What some person find beautiful in humans, other people don't, and then other people find this and that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Imagine saying to a peacock, you're not allowed to show off your tail because that's egotistical. And the peacock suddenly feels ashamed about putting its tail up. Or imagine if you said it to like one of those really proud birds, like a parrot, a robin, you're not allowed to show off your red chest. It's very egotistical. This is crazy. The difference is when you believe that you're going to find I am and the consciousness in those actions, and that's the seeking energy. It feels tense. But of course you're allowed to shine. I think that often this idea when you get into spirituality and you think, oh, my ego, I can't do this, I can't do that. I think it's often about psychological things like afraid of competition or afraid of being better than someone else or afraid of standing out from the crowd. You're allowed to shine. It's just not going to bring you freedom. What brings you freedom is I am and the empty looking. And if you feel attracted to wearing makeup, then you can wear makeup and you can flirt and enjoy it. And you can put yourself out there. Because I got into spirituality so young, I got into all these traps. Because I'm shy and I tend to have an introvert personality. I fell into the trap that I wasn't allowed to, and also because of my low self-esteem, I fell into the trap of using it's egotistical to sort of stop myself from shining, not using my skills and not stepping up and not stepping fully into myself. It's egotistical. But you have to take what you feel from that, so you see how it makes you feel. Thank you so much for covering this. Your words are really helpful, so helpful. Endless gratitude. Oh, the poor peacock. Yeah. It's funny what we do in the name of spirituality, and it's not the teacher's fault in any way. It's the student. It's like psychologically we're always latching on to those words and interpreting them normally as a way to hide. I was really lucky, and this is something still I'm understanding what it is to be human and to step more into myself. This part keeps expanding in me. I don't know if it ever gets to an end of stepping up more. There's still something I have to work on is having confidence. Like I'm pretty confident, compared most probably to most people, but still, like from childhood. So this is an example. So I just speak about non-duality. I don't write non-duality at the moment. Sometimes writing comes out, but mostly I just speak. So the book that's on my website is transcribed by somebody else. And somebody said, why don't you write a book? And I said, oh, I don't write. And they said, why don't you write? And I said, oh, I can't do that sort of thing. I'm not good at that sort of thing. And they said, but you can speak it, and it's beautiful when you speak it. And I was like, but it's different. And they said, are you sure that's not a conditioning from your school, your childhood, that you can't write? Maybe you should open to the idea that you can write. And that really had a beautiful effect. That was about a year ago, and I can feel more movements to maybe writing a book. Like, I can write dialogue, but I thought that was really different from writing a book. Like, I write scripts, but that to me is really different, writing dialogue. It's not proper English like a book, but it was just a concept I had that limits me. And then I took that concept off, and now there's more of a movement towards that. So, and I think that maybe most probably my confidence is better than a lot of people in our society, but I often find little ways in which my mind blocks me from something, thinking I can't do that, or that's not like Lisa, where really, yeah, our bodies have our tendency, but you're opening to, you want to get more and more in line with this idea of infinite possibilities. Like, that's what the nature is, that's what I am, and the empty looking is. And so on the human level, the more you're in line with that, the better it feels on the human level. I forgot what I was saying that in relationship to. But yeah, so I was really lucky. When I got Khaleesi 6 years ago, I had been living, after I left Australia, I lived in Asia for a couple of years. And when you live in Asia, there's always an overflow of feral dogs or street dogs. And I'm fascinated by dogs and animals in general, but dogs are the ones you could watch the most. And so every evening and morning, I used to go and sit with the dogs and watch them in their packs. And I found that super helpful to understand better what it is to be human. Not human seeking human, like we pretty much know what that's like for the seeking humans, like you just look everywhere and everyone's seeking, but just being human without that seeking energy. And watching dogs, because obviously humans evolved from mammals, and we were predators like dogs, it helped me. And we're also pack animals like dogs. That's why we get on with dogs. It helped me understand more, like being human, like understanding these human feelings, that we do have a sense of competition. And obviously you have to see the ego in competition. So you have to see that you're not going to get freedom from that, and you're never better than anyone. But we do have this instinct to be competitive, just like the dogs. And the dogs don't take it personally. So if somebody does better than them, they might try their best to, say if one caught a crab, the other one might try their best to also catch a crab, or to get the crab off that dog. Crabs are the little, I was on an island on a beach with these dogs. It was very idyllic. And so say one caught it, there would be competition to get this crab. But then when the one that won got the crab, there wasn't this like suffering from all the other dogs. They just kind of accepted it. And that's something that humans don't have, because they're so identified with the competition. And there was many things I learned also because I've been very left-wing and still have a tendency towards left-wing. I learned about hierarchy from the dogs. It's crazy that you can't learn about this from humans, but after this seeking energy dropped away here, it's almost like then you have to learn to be human again. Like, what's it to be human without this seeking energy? And it just comes, but there is a reconditioning that happens. and a relearning. And I saw the benefits of having hierarchy in that group, and I saw the beauty of it as well. And I noticed how sometimes in left-wing mentalities there's an avoidance of hierarchy, not because hierarchy is actually the problem, although I would prefer to live in a society that has less hierarchy, but not because that's the problem. A lot of the time that people actually just have issues with hierarchy because of their childhood conditioning, because they've had really dominant parents or they've had problems at school, and they see the problem with hierarchy. But actually hierarchy can also have some beautiful qualities to it. It's not all bad. Like in dogs, they have really strict hierarchy, really strict. I mean, that's how we get on with dogs, is that we're their leader. And a dog pack without hierarchy is a disaster. Like sometimes other male dogs would come into the pack and there would always be lots of fight, and then, or other female dogs, and then it took a while to get their positions, and then once they got their positions again, they were all very stable.